All right, hello friends and neighbors. Welcome back to Low Brass U Studio Class. It's the studio class about the brass and all things tuba, euphonium, trombone. We give you the backstage pass. And today I am your co-host, Connor Eisenmenger, and here with us is our fearless leader and principal host, Zach Marley.
Hello, everyone. So is that going to be the new bit that you just keep changing the rhyme every week? Because I love it. That is,
every rhyme has been different so far, and we're going to see how far we can take it.
Do you already have like future plans for those? Sorry.
No, this is it's all good. Yeah. No, this is not a list that we have. This is all that we're riffing.
Okay.
We're gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, I like it. I'm impressed. That's why you have the responsibility of introducing everything.
This is what I bring to the table.
So that was, if you're unfamiliar with that piece, do you know that piece, Connor? I feel like you might not.
Nope.
So
I also have the memory of a goldfish, and I don't remember what you played.
So that was a little snippet of the Antonio Capuzzi Concerto for Double Bass, but more affectionately known in the low brass community as Andante and Rondo, because we just disregard the first movement of the concerto. So we just, for whatever reason, we don't play the first movement, then we play the second and third, which are the Andante and the Rondo. So it just is what it is. So that was a little bit of the third movement, which is the Rondo. And that brings, well, first we'll answer this one question. It's a very important question. How should I annoy tenor players being a bass player? I think you shouldn't. I think that's maybe just a good strategy.
I don't know. I think you should.
And how should Mondo Trombo that annoy the tenor?
The same way that every bass trombone player annoys every tenor trombone player, and that's by playing louder than them, because it's easy to do and it's super fun and it sounds cool and you should do it.
Yeah.
Unless I say stop. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll let that one slide.
That's what I would do. If I was good at bass trombone, I would just like
just
bury the
honk.
tenor trombones at all times.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like there's like times where I've like, you know, like you like sit in a big band and then all of a sudden like I had this it happened recently, or we had a sub on fourth bone who wasn't playing too loud, but they were playing like markedly like several decibel levels higher than like the person that's normally tenured in our fourth trombone spot. And it really elevated the whole section. It was like we stuck to it, and the band kind of blended around that new like shelf that we were at, and we got this great brilliant sound out of the section, and we had a ton of fun.
I mean, to be fair, playing loudly is not necessarily a bad thing. Within reason, in the right timing. There are times where you get to play loud.
There are times when you get to honk out pedals, especially if you're playing fourth trombone in a big band.
And towards them.
Sometimes it's encouraged.
Yeah.
Not towards them. That's when we get into like the hearing damage category of things.
Yeah.
Of which I am very much a stickler.
Yes. No.
As someone who has sat in front of too many lead trumpet players in my life.
Right. It definitely is a scary place. But a couple of things that I thought might be interesting to go through today. One thing, with this Andante and Rondo, thought it might be interesting to talk a little bit about the pieces that I'm planning on playing on a faculty recital that is yet to be officially scheduled yet, so things could change. But maybe a little bit of recital piece choosing and things of that nature. So essentially this recital, I don't think we haven't really talked about this. I think we've talked that I was going to try to do it.
No, we haven't talked like nuts and bolts though.
Right. So I think I have the pieces. I've sent them off to who I hope will be the pianist for the recital. And it's going to be half trombone, half euphonium, and the trombone half will be both tenor and bass.
That would be fun.
So the trombone pieces, the Jorgensen Romance. Have you played that one, Connor?
Sure haven't.
It's a nice one. Anything with romance in the title is probably going to be pretty nice to listen to. But it's a nice piece. 1916, doing a lot of older tenor trombone stuff, which is just, it's nice that it's there, especially with tuba and euphonium, and even more so on tuba side of things. There aren't old pieces that are written for tuba.
No.
The Vaughan Williams is more or less the start of things at 1954. So, the tuba was around before then because it was patented in the 1800s, but it was, it wasn't a solo instrument at that time. So the Jorgensen Romance, this is in no order as of this moment. And then the Ropart's piece in E flat minor. You know that one?
I do know that one.
That's a fun one, which that's probably the scariest one on there for me.
I was gonna say that's a lot to take on.
Yeah, that one's been like a, a little like, what's the phrase? Not elephant on your back. There's a phrase.
It's just something that you've wanted to take on for a while.
Because I've been able to play everything in that piece, but playing it in one go is kind of the challenge. Because it definitely just
I don't think I can play everything in that piece.
You probably could if you worked on it.
That's a tricky one.
I started working on this like a decade ago, this piece.
Yeah.
And I just haven't really had a chance to play it or a reason to play it. So this is my chance and reason. And then the Lebedev Concerto in one movement, which is a great one. Played it on tuba several times. Haven't actually performed it on bass trombone before, but I've worked with students on this piece before. And if anybody's keeping score at home, I am going to be playing the original version, not the Ostrander edition that is essentially not correct and actually condemned by Lebedev himself.
Wow, that's harsh.
So essentially what happened was, as far as I understand it, not a scholar, or at least not in this realm, but my understanding of what happened was at one point in time, Russia and the United States didn't always agree on everything. And, this was a Russian piece that was taken by Americans to play and maybe not honored all copyright law and things of that nature. And at this point in time, there weren't really a lot of double valve bass trombones, or probably any. I'm not sure when this was brought to the United States, but the piece was written in 1960, which at that point in time, there weren't double valve bass trombones. So essentially, there's one note that got changed on the first page, and that's because it's a low C flat. So, Mr. Eisenmenger, what might be the problem playing a low C flat on a single valve bass trombone?
Can't do it.
Right. Not without pulling the tuning slide and causing all kinds of other problems.
Right.
So that note was changed to a note that makes sense, sounds good, all of that sort of stuff, but it's not what Lebedev wanted. And then there's some other stuff later on that was made more technically possible on the bass trombone. Some 16th note triplet passages and things that, to me, make the piece a little bit less effective because there's kind of some callbacks to it later, and it kind of comes out of nowhere because it's not in reference to it happening before. And it's possible on bass trombone. I'm working on it. It's practice. It's going to take some time. But But yeah, so I'm going to be playing the original real version, because Lebedev towards the end of his life found out about this Ostrander edition and didn't like that. So that's the trombone portion. And Keith says naming a piece after its formal structure is classic. Yes.
Sure is.
Piece in E flat minor is great. And then
sometimes called that.
Right.
I think I had a copy that said piece in, what was it? It was
E flat B mole. What is it? That's that what you're talking about?
Talking about the row parts, I had an edition. I think it said piece in B flat minor.
Oh.
It was just wrong.
There also is. There are a few versions that just say piece.
You just like Horace Silver by row parts.
There you go. I hope someone got that joke. That was a tasteful joke. So that's the trombone portion. The euphonium portion is going to be Neil Corwell's The Odyssey, which is a pre-recorded accompaniment. Got some cool synthy sounds going on. I've played it a few times. It's a nice little closer. That'll probably close the recital, because then I can put my my high G that's not written at the end of that piece. This little scoop up to a high G.
I'm gonna tell Lebedev.
No, I wouldn't do that to Lebedev. Neil, you can tell Neil Corwell.
No, I'm telling Lebedev.
Neil that's not in that piece, so.
Lebedev is the last word on note changes in low brass literature.
Fair enough. And then a piece that has effectively two titles: Brazilian Dance or Zaxando no Cerrado, and I hope that my Portuguese pronunciation is at least within the ballpark. So that's a fun piece. I did that for a competition once. Nice little cool piece. And then that Capuzzi, that the rondo, maybe that's what Keith is actually referring to as the Andante and rondo. That would actually make more sense. But anyway, the Andante and rondo from the Concerto for Double Bass but it'll be played on euphonium, which again I haven't played on euphonium, but it'll be fun, and it'll be easier to play the E flat minor section of Andante and rondo at a more cohesive